Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the show that shares with you everything that should be done before saying I do. This is Before I Do. My name is Walter Jennings.
My name is Charmaine Jennings.
We're your Couples Academy practitioners, and our honor, our responsibility, our job is to facilitate courageous conversations on dating and relationships.
Absolutely. This is meant to be an interactive show. So when we pose the Speak Now Forever Hold Your Peace question, please don't hold your peace. Speak to us.
Absolutely. And so we're actually jumping right into our Speak Now question of the night because we are talking about I love you, but not your parents. And we know that parents can be an integral and influential part of our dating relationship. And so we are starting with our Speak Now question, which is... like that, don't you? How important is it to have a good relationship with your partner's parents? So is it important to have a good relationship with your partner's parents when you are in an intimate relationship with someone?
Mm-hmm.
So dealing with your partner's parents may be one of the more challenging parts of your relationship, but it may be worth the effort to make your interactions with them as pleasant as possible, if for no other reason than to respect your partner's bond with them.
Mm-hmm.
And so building a relationship with your partners can be difficult. However, everyone is involved in adjusting to this major life transition. The parents are trying to adjust to a new relationship dynamic with their child and build a relationship with you as their child's partner. Also, the couple themselves, they are trying to establish and strengthen their own relationship and making their own life choices.
Absolutely. It's new all around for the parents. And for you, it definitely requires some patience, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're learning new language, you're learning, you're learning the culture of your child. If you're the parent, right? How your child is showing up as an adult. If you are a child and you're engaging with your parents in this phase of life, you haven't engaged with them as well. And then seeing them navigate and having to interact with your partner can be a challenge as well. So
absolutely. And so oftentimes when we think about interacting with our partner's parents, there are some challenges and issues that end up emerging. One of the first challenges that comes when you think about a parent's influence in a relationship is the example of love that they give. In other words, what is it exactly that your partner has been modeled when it comes to the family? So parents, as we know, they shape their child's future love lives from the very beginning. The way that you're reared and the environment that you're in, it helps to give you influence in the way you perceive, feel, and give love. So obviously, you can't change how your parents affected you as a child. You were not in control of the environment that you came up in and how you were reared in love and the environment that you are actually impacted by. However, what you can do is be honest and aware of it and decide how you act as an adult to maintain a healthy, strong relationship. What is it that you need in order to ensure that you have a competent relationship that actually feeds into you?
Absolutely. And the next one is crossing boundaries and lines of communication. And so this is one of the biggest ways that parents can often interfere with their adult children's relationships. And so crossing a boundary or lines of communication might look like the parent calling the child's partner. All right. So we're talking to you. If you have ever picked up the phone and called, your child's partner, or one has called your partner and provided their 2 cents or their opinions about the relationship and getting other family members involved. So this can be a huge breach of boundary breach, as well as crossing those lines of communication.
Absolutely. So while it is completely normal for a parent to give their child relationship advice, it doesn't give them the right to go any further than that. And so it's important that we have our parents respect those boundaries. And a romantic relationship is for the people that are in the relationship and are working on it, not the parents. And so a parent, they may even mean well. It may even be coming from a good place, but it is still detrimental and it can cause awkwardness within a relationship. All right, number 3, being overly attached. We're talking about the mama's boys, the daddy's girls. And so to be clear, it's not a bad thing necessarily for a man or woman to love or to interact with their parent, but it can be a really awkward thing when it's a bit too strong, and one can even say, aggressive or overbearing. So when parents interfere to that type of extent, it becomes intrusive and awkward to the relationship. And this kind of over-involvement and this type of attachment can end up resulting in a weird and an angering experience that may eventually break up the relationship. So keeping in mind, as far as the decency, what that relationship needs to look like between your partner and your parent, and being honest about how that is impacting the relationship is very important.
Yeah, that's a big one, being overly attached. It's scary, even, especially if you find yourself being the parent that's overly attached, or you find yourself, on the opposite end of that.
Mhm.
If you're the partner of someone whose parent is kind of overly attached. So forcing family expectations on your partner. Now, this is a huge one. So if your partner comes from a different culture than you do, all right, culture doesn't mean race. So we're talking about just different culture, meaning their way of life and how they grew up is different from yours. That means that their parents are very strict about their family lifestyle expectations. Your relationship may be doomed from the start. Like, if their parents already have a made up mind about certain things, it can be a challenge from the beginning. So it may be racist, it could be racism or classism or prejudice views, but the family doesn't necessarily see it that way, right? And so these things can cause conflict if they see it as, oh, these are just our beliefs. Well, some families never come around to the idea of their child dating outside of their group, whether that's class, whether it's race, whatever, right? So anytime a child dates outside of the norm of what they deem to be the norm in their culture, that can be an issue. And so the child is in question, their lifestyle choices are in question, and so it just may be a challenging experience for the family and the child's partner to get used to each other. This can be a conflict, right? But either way, if your partner's family utterly disapproves of you, so let's say if you are the one on the end of this situation, they disapprove of you from the beginning, they'll be sure to let your partner know on a pretty frequent basis. And so that can be stressful. And so we have to be honest with our partners, but in a healthy way, in a productive way. And we have to find ways of making sure that, again, there's respect on both sides.
Absolutely. And when it comes to your partner's family's traditions, you have to ask yourself, can you handle it? Is it something that you're willing to be a part of, and to what extent? And then lastly, and this is a really big one, manipulation with money. So money can be a huge factor in romantic relationships. And so not making enough money and struggling with finances, it can put a lot of pressure on relationships. But money can also cause problems for your relationship when you begin to get your parents involved. So if your partner's parents keep giving you all money, then essentially they begin to exert control over your relationship, asking, what are you all doing? What are some of your habits? What are some of the things that you all are doing that you all constantly need money? So financial interference can lead to other types of interference that can impact your lifestyle as a couple. And it can feel like you're on these puppet strings that are being pulled by your parents, your partner's parents, if you're not careful. So these are some of the challenges when we think about the influence that parents can have on a relationship. And sometimes it is intentional and sometimes it is inadvertent. So this actually goes back to our Speak Now question of the night, which is, how important is it to have a good relationship with your partner's parents? So Charmaine, I'm going to ask you this on a scale of 1 to 10. How important would you say that it is important to have a good relationship with your partner's parents?
Oh man, this is a tough question because my answer to this question has changed. When we first started dating, I thought it was like a lot because you were like, well, I can't see myself marrying a girl that my mom didn't like. And I was just like, really? Really? Is that what we're doing? I couldn't believe that. And I'm like, okay. I said, well, what if your mom's petty? And what if she just doesn't like me because she just doesn't want to like me? Like, you're going to throw away a perfectly good relationship because your mama don't like me. And so I thought that was a crazy response. But man, to be honest, how frequent is that to occur where you just have a parent that just doesn't like your partner because it just, first of all, it happens now. It happens a lot. But I do think that it is very important for the parents to really at least have a vested interest in your partner. I think there needs to be mutual respect on both sides. Because it can be a stressful situation, because even if you decide to build your life with this person, I mean, have children with this person, literally, if your parents are not in agreement, or it's gonna make a lot of, you really are just gonna have to be strong, set boundaries, and really let them know that, hey, this is my choice and I need you to respect that choice, because I'm going to build my life with this person. And so I do think it's beneficial. It's definitely helpful. But if for some reason you pursued someone that your parents were not fond of, man, bare minimum, there has to be an established level of respect and rules of engagement.
Absolutely. You're tuned into Before I Do tonight, our Speak Now question of the night, related to our topic, I love you, but not your parents. How important is it to have a good relationship with your partner's parents? Please put your response in the chat. We will get to it. We're going to take a really quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with more Before I Do. Stay tuned, everybody.
Welcome back to Before I Do. Our topic tonight is I love you, but not your parents. Okay. Before the break, we asked the Speak Now Forever Hold Your Peace question. We asked, how important is it to have a good relationship with your partner's parents? All right. Now, y'all tell us the truth. Now, how important to you is it to have a good relationship with your partner's parents? Walter, I'm coming over there to you. Have you changed? Have you since changed your mind since we first started dating about the importance of that relationship?
Yeah, absolutely. I have. So for me, I would have said before that this was like at a 9 or 10 on a 10-point scale. I believed that my family, again, it could essentially do no wrong. I also think that, and I do still believe this, that a family is a support system for you when you are in a relationship, and they can often see things that you cannot when you're in a relationship with someone. So in a lot of ways, they're able to identify some potential red flags and challenges in your relationship with someone else that you may not necessarily be able to see. However, my answer is now down to about a 6 or 7, because again, as much as your family may love you, they don't necessarily know what is best for you. And so as you really get to know yourself and know exactly what you need, you are going to know better than your family exactly what you need. And so you may, again, end up dating someone who deviates from your family marinade, from what you're used to. But because of what you're actually purposing to accomplish in life, because of some things that you want to do, maybe your family hasn't necessarily sought out to accomplish those things. Maybe they've done some different things, and your purpose to go in a different direction, and the person that you're looking at yoking up with as a partner is, again, a reflection of where you're going, not necessarily where you're coming from. And that can cause some natural challenges because your family doesn't see what you see. And so it's important to work with your family, and we're going to get into some tips in a second. But for me, it's dropped down because of the fact that I think, family does have value in the courting process, but it's important for us to keep it in the right perspective.
You know what I think, and I don't know, I'm not necessarily encouraging you all out there to do that, but it would be interesting to hear from my family if they did have a vote. Not that they do, but if they had a vote, like really what would be the character of the individual or just the personality of the person that they think would be most compatible with me, and why?
Yeah.
Would they pick just another me for me to date? Would my mom pick someone like her? You know what I'm saying? Like, would she be looking for her personality in this individual? Would my dad be looking for his personality and my partner, my spouse? Like, some of these are good questions. Like, what really to really learn about your family and who they see you with and why, though. And it's not important about who they see you with, but why.
Exactly.
The why. What is it about that why? And you can learn a lot from that. Not to be influenced by it, but just to be informed. Absolutely. And so we definitely want to take you into 5 tips for building good relationships with your partner's parents. All right. Tip number 1. Don't force your partner to cut off their relationship. Okay. So yeah, you don't want to be on that side of the voting process. Okay. So you may dislike your partner's parents. You might say, like, yeah, I'm not feeling your parents. They crazy. Like, they're always in our business. I'm tired of them. You know, your daddy don't like me. Your mama don't like, whatever the situation is, right? You may not like the parents because the parents don't like you. Okay. And you're tired of the interference or whatever, right? But you may have drastically different approaches to finances, whatever issues that the parents may see, notice, think they recognize, right? However, hindering your partner from building a relationship can be a huge loss. It is like a death. So do you really want to encourage your partners, you know, to cut off their parents? First of all, I mean, these were their first teachers. So if you are the one encouraging that, then you know what? You also want to be the one to blame. So you want to be mindful of that. If your partner wishes to spend more time with their parents, with or without you, you know, and you prevent them from doing this, then conflict may, you know, increase, and resentment may also be a result of that.
Yeah, this can actually breed resentment. And it also is a sign of manipulation and control.
Yeah.
When you start to pressure and force your partner into cutting off certain people and cutting off relationships, even when you see that they're unhealthy. The bottom line is it has to be your partner's decision. It's something that they need to be able to see and decide for themselves, but you want to be very careful that you don't appear as if you're trying to pick and choose the individuals that will be in their life, because ultimately that's going to lead to bitterness on their part, and you do want them to help maintain their autonomy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Number 2, discuss the level of involvement that you would like to have with your partner's family. So the question becomes, what would you like the involvement level to be when it comes to your interaction with your partner's parents? Do you envision seeing them every week? Maybe you all have Sunday dinner. Maybe it's all you see them a couple of hours during a major holiday, especially if you stay far away. I know with our family, every November for Thanksgiving, we usually go to your family's house and spend those 3 or 4 days there. If you and your partner decide to have children, you want to think about what type of involvement that you want to have from them. And then importantly, if you and your partner agree, you can talk through the reasons and try to reach a compromise or come to a understanding that leaves you both satisfied. It's very important that you and your partner have equal voice in exactly what that involvement potentially looks like.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times in relationships, you may have one of you that is very independent, and so you might have envisioned your relationship completely independent of your parents, and they only get sneak peeks, and it's an invitation only basis, right? And then others are really communal with their family, and they expect their family, they're really close to their family, so they expect them to be involved. So these conversations can be really powerful. And number 3, we go to setting boundaries.
Ring the bell for me on that one.
Set boundaries. And I think the bell is tired. There you go. Set boundaries. So doing this early on in the relationship is likely to make the adjustment easier for everyone involved. Just be mindful. Like, and I don't know where this culture is going, but I do know there's a lot of, there are some young women who really believe it's a great strategy to become besties with the mother-in-law or a potential future mother-in-law, right? And to get in there good, or guys who want to become, kind of best buds with the dad or whatever. And this is almost a guaranteed in, and making sure you meet the parents' approval. Be careful about those things. Don't, set those boundaries. Make sure you want to assure that your partner's parents, that they're an important part of the family. And it may support that process, but you want to make sure that you allow time, you allow time and space to really establish and think through what boundaries are needed, right? If they tend to overstay their welcome, let's say the parents come over, they're starting to come by the house now uninvited, they're starting to do different things, because now we're family, right? No. So are you available from 1 to 3 o'clock on Sunday? Making sure you're asking questions, making sure you are requiring other people to ask you questions about your availability. Would you like to come for a visit for 2 nights this next weekend? And see, I don't know about that. See, we talking about spending the night now.
Yeah, I mean, if they're from out of town,
okay.
So like they're visiting. Yeah.
All right. Y'all saw me. I screened that. I'm like, what you staying over for? Okay. Why you trying to spend a night? Okay. So possibly if the parents express the desire to stay longer than you would like them to, simply say something like, it would be better for us to just do 2 days at this time.
And those things may be difficult to communicate, but it is important that, because the other dynamic in this is that you are your parent's child.
Yeah.
And so you really want to help them to train to also see you as an adult, as a man or a woman. And part of setting these boundaries, it allows you to be able to institute that. And so it's difficult, and it can be a tumultuous transition, but it's absolutely necessary. All right, number 4, and this is a really important one, and Charmaine was alluding to this when we were coming out of the break. Listen for the feelings behind the comments. In other words, look for the why behind the what. So many times what happens is we get caught up and angered by what is said, instead of taking the time to really analyze about why what was said was said. And so when your partners, when their parents says something, for example, let's say like, why don't y'all move closer? Or why did y'all move so far away? Try to hear the feelings rather than the criticisms. Are they trying to control your relationship, or are they trying to tell you how they feel about something? What they may mean to say is, I miss you and wish we could spend more time together. See, now we can work with that, because what I'm hearing is when you say, why don't you move closer? Why'd y'all move so far away? That is a criticism, and it may cause you to get on the defensive. But if I can get to the meaning of it, which is you want to spend more time with me, okay, well, let's come up with a schedule or a weekend. Maybe we can spend some time together. You all come and visit us. We all come and visit you. And so that way we can really move into a healthier dynamic in our relationship.
All right. And our last one, to build a better relationship with the parents, especially if you already that person that says, I can't stand them, don't need them, I'm dating you, married you, not them. All right. We want you to come back. We need you to bring it back. We got to resuscitate these relationships. All right. Number 5 is work on building a positive relationship and focusing on the good.
Yes.
I mean, you have to have that positive mindset. You have to stay positive, right? Don't go to the dark place. Come out, see the light, walk towards the light. Okay. So it can be hard to relate to someone if you don't know them well. Let's be honest. It's easier not to like people, especially when we don't know them, right? We don't know them. We don't know their background story. We don't know their why, right? So try to have more shared experiences, plan an activity. If you are the person in the middle, you feel stuck in the middle between your parents and the person you're dating and you love, or you are in strong like, this definitely, you want to set both parties up to definitely share a like experience, right? Plan an activity, maybe a picnic, maybe go miniature golfing if both parties like golf. If we all are foodies and we like to eat, maybe we go to some place that will cultivate that, that desire that we all have to explore different foods. Try to seek advice on small things like which tablecloth is best, or what dishes you would serve at a family meal. So these are things that can spark up conversation. Maybe one parent is financially savvy and can help you figure out your mortgage application. just don't give them, the bank account information. You don't want them all up in the business.
Don't do that.
Maybe the other parent is excellent at fixing things around the house. Seek out and enjoy each person's strengths, but don't give them the keys to your house. So again, that goes back to boundaries. Accept help, but know that help doesn't mean because they're helping you that they completely get a hall pass into, really intimate and personal and private matters.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's important to bear in mind is that just like with our individual relationship with our partner is work, our relationship with our partner's parents is work as well. And so we have to commit ourselves to that process and being honest about what it is that we want, and the work that we are willing to put in can go a long way into really figuring out as far as what the dynamics of our relationship is going to be.
Yeah, and I would say, and I want you to share your secret sauce, but I would say this: there are a lot of people out there who would say, "Hey, I'm with you. I didn't get with you to marry your parents, so I really don't need to invest in that." We're absolutely saying that those investments are important. Whoever is important to your partner needs to be important to you. And but as far as the secret sauce, for me, I would say take your time, allow things to be organic. Don't try to force the relationship. Just relax. Be yourself. Watch your mouth. Learn and study the culture, right? Not to assimilate, but just to have a better appreciation and a respect for your partner's parents and their culture.
And our area of specialty is premarital. And this is one of the areas that we spend a lot of time digging into.
Yes.
When we work with couples, we help them to sort through, as Danielle likes to call it, their family marinade, and we call it the foundational family. So exactly where you come from, what does your cultural iceberg look like? What are some of the traditions and things that you grew up with? And then figuring out and sorting through what exactly are you going to take with you and why. And so this is a really important part of figuring out the dynamic of your relationship with your partner. And so not just throwing everything away, but again, figuring out exactly what it is that you're bringing in the relationship, what's going to go with you, and what may potentially be left behind. Yeah. But still respecting, again, the family that those things came from.
Absolutely. Your parents, and parents are often shocked because they assume because you grew up around them, they trained you up, they assume that you're going to take everything, all of their cultural practices, thoughts, belief systems, and that's just not the case. As an adult, some things you're going to take, but some things you're going to leave, and for them that could feel like rejection.
Absolutely.
And so we want to respect our parents. We want to make sure that they know that they are loved and that they are valued, but the way that we protect our relationships is having boundaries and also being in the seat of learning in this new phase. If you're a parent, learn who your adult children are, how they show up in their relationships, what your role is, and just, create that respectful space.
Thank you guys for tuning in to tonight's Before I Do. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe at couplesacademy.org and book us for a session. Yes. We would love to speak with you about your individual journey, especially if you are in a romantic relationship with someone else. Are you getting the right and proper guidance to ensure that you all have a fighting chance in your relationship? So be sure to reach out to us, book us for a session. Or if you're in an individual relationship and are looking for someone to partner with you in your individual journey, we'd love to speak with you as well. My name is Walter Jennings.
My name is Charmaine Jennings.
We're your Couples Academy practitioners. We'll see y'all next week on another edition of Before I Do. Good night, everybody.
Welcome to the Couples Academy app. The Couples Academy app is your go-to hub for how to do marriage right. Get started with our app today by perusing our amazing features that conveniently allow you to connect. This app is packed with powerful content and resources to help you grow and stay connected. With this app, you can watch our messages, find marriage resources, watch, listen, and read the real-life stories of restored couples, sign up for events, read articles and blog posts, stay up to date with push notifications, share your favorite messages via Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or email, and download messages for offline listening. For more information about the Couples Academy app, go to couplesacademy.org.